Welcome to We Are Teachers, You Can't Scare Us, our brand new podcast where we, teachers, are going to talk about all things scary movies. Just a word of forewarning, we are recording this at my house and I have a dog named Boo, and though that seems like it's part of the whole scary movie bit, he is named after a character in To Kill a Mockingbird, Boo Radley. So he likes to make himself known, so I'm sure at some point you're going to see him jump up and distract us a bit. So my name is Gwenna, and I teach 10th grade English, yearbook, and an online journalism course.
Hi, I'm Allie. I am a world language teacher. I teach French and Spanish, and also I wanted to point out you might hear Gwenna's dog Boo talking. He has a little puppy pad thing, so if you hear any other voices in the background, that might just be Boo, letting us know he has too.
We're not being haunted.
It's not yet, anyway. All right, let me pass it to
Melissa. Hi. Gwenna and I keep holding hands. That's why I keep turning around.
Give me money.
What is happening back here? So I teach basically 10th, 11th, 12th grade math. Is that all we need?
What kind of math?
Math. Honors pre-calc, calc, business calc.
The things that haunt my dreams.
That's right.
Yeah, that's true. I do often have scary movies about having to teach math.
Math test anxiety, or like I have to take a math final that I didn't study for to graduate.
But we found each other at work. We found out we all love scary movies. My love started at a very early age. I read a lot of Stephen King when I was in elementary school, saw The Exorcist early in my life, and my young life was made up of sleepovers where I would torture a lot of my friends who didn't like scary movies and make them watch. It's pretty nice that I was born in October, because that's considered like a giant scary movie month, Halloween and everything. And I've just always loved being scared, that adrenaline rush, and some of my favorite scary movies. I love the Conjuring series for the most part, a couple exceptions. Insidious series, The Exorcist. I like the old school Halloween, Friday the 13th. Those are my big ones. So, Allie, how'd you get into horror?
So, I think being a kid of the 80s, I was born in 82, just growing up with some of the, like, Friday the 13th, Jason, the Halloween series, of course, definitely framed some of my love of scary movies. I just love to be scared and to scare myself. I remember being, like, a little kid and just, like, instead of being afraid of what was under my bed, I was just like, ooh, is there something under my bed? And I would do the run and jump into my bed to kind of just creep myself out. I still, to this day, when I'm walking my laundry up the stairs, will do the turnaround glance just to make sure that nobody is following me.
You walk up backwards.
I can't do that because I'm not coordinated enough, so I actually have to, like,
turn and look,
take a deep breath, and then do the look,
just
and be like, okay, I'm good. I can keep going. So, yeah, I also just always loved one thing that really, like, growing up, video, like Blockbuster. I know some of you out there might be too young to remember those, but just looking in, like, the scary movie section, they always had it, like, decorated. But yeah, just like that adrenaline rush, like you said. I'm also pretty high anxious in my own life, so watching a scary movie tends to help me de-escalate my anxiety, which sounds kind of odd, but it's a thing. How about you, Melissa?
So I, like you, Gwenna, my parents let me watch these scary movies at a very young age.
Yeah.
And the more I think about it, like, I don't think that really is, like, recommended, right?
It is
like,
not.
Because,
as a mother of two small children, I do not recommend that.
Right.
But.
So, like, I remember watching, like, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, all the Halloween movies when I was, like, really, 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 really young. I don't know why they let me do that.
Which is hysterical because, like, the Friday the 13th, or no, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, go to bed.
Right.
No, I'm not.
It's like, I'm
never
not going to
sleeping
bed.
again.
I'm not sleeping. These are the things that happen when you sleep. One of the movies I remember, I think my dad took me to it, was the Freddy vs. Jason movie, which I really liked. And most recently, my favorite scary movie was, I actually did like the Halloween remake.
I did too.
And a lot of people
yeah.
did not, but okay, so. But anyway,
was
the
thinking.
reason I've started to get back into scary movies is because my niece really likes them. And she's 15, so like I feel like we can just basically watch whatever. We don't call mom and ask permission very often. We sort of just watch them.
I feel like 15 you're
Yeah,
safe,
you're set.
but I definitely remember probably being like 8 or 9 years old watching some questionable. Oh, and also on HBO, like scary, or what was that show that was with the Crypt Keeper?
Yeah, Tales from the Crypt.
Tales from the Crypt. There
yeah,
it is.
that
Do you
dude.
remember like the R.L. Stein Fear Street?
Yeah.
books?
Oh my gosh, I love the Fear
those.
Street. Ate those up. Delicious.
But the best, so like my style of like horror movies, I love the ones that make you laugh. And the movie we're going to talk about today, I feel like had that. But I watch, and sometimes I might laugh inappropriately. I don't know if I did that today. You can bring it up if you need to. But my niece and I just watched Terrifier and Terrifier 2. I cannot believe you haven't seen these. So
Write it down.
yeah, 1 and 2. I think we watched the second one first because we Googled like what's the scariest movie ever, and it came up with like The Exorcist. We watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Good time there. But it told us to watch Terrifier, and we had seen some posts that said that people were getting like physically ill in the movie theaters from watching this and passing out and things like
Maybe I
that.
shouldn't do that
So
one.
no, but like we were at our house, we were at my house, and I was like, well, let's just do it. I mean, we pass
See
out,
how
pass out here.
terrifying
Let's see
it
what
is.
happens. And I laughed the entire time, and my niece is hysterical, and so like she was laughing the whole time. I mean, it is a wild, wild movie. Terrifier 2.
I didn't
And
mention like I wrote those down because you had mentioned those before, and I
Yeah.
did not have a great few moments in this movie, as we'll probably cover. But my favorite genre is probably The Living Dead and zombie movies. But I'm here for it all. So yeah.
All right. Sorry that the screen is so small and cutting Melissa and I off. We're trying to find a happy place for it.
I also am not sure where to look when I talk.
Same.
And also, like, when I'm listening to you
I
guys.
mean,
Well, no, because I
look
think
at
it'll
each
look really
other.
weird if you're talking and Allie and I are like...
I also feel like my head looks really small. So
I don't
I
think
feel like
that's
mine is
back
just
up.
big, but I am
It's
a
up
big
here.
girl, so. All right.
It's all right.
Well, let's move on.
Yeah.
Today we are going to talk about the scary movie Talk to Me, which has been all over the internet. A lot of people loving it. So we went and saw that this afternoon. Well, depending on what day it is. Okay, so we went and saw that, and now we're
One
going to talk
afternoon.
about it.
Yeah.
It's nice to be
It's a
able to
matinee.
find people to see scary movies together. For many years, Allie and I, before we realized Melissa was into it, we would go to scary movies and then we'd go have sushi after. That was like our thing, scary movies and sushi.
I got no sushi. But
Highly recommend this. I took a hiatus for a while when my kids, like when I had the kids, but now I'm back. I'm
Now
ready.
she's back.
I'm ready.
And we want to share what we think about stuff, and we hope that you'll comment and share your thoughts on these movies too, because we're all in for discussion.
Give us a listen.
Just real quickly before we get into the synopsis of Talk to Me, we want to reach out and say thank you to Dunovan Cook. He is going to school for music major. I think he's a dual major, but I know for sure music. And he did our little intro and outro music for us, so that was really awesome of him, and we want to thank him because he did a fantastic job. So, Talk to Me. Well, let me say this. If you've not seen the movie yet, I would stop here because there are going to be massive spoilers coming up now. Because we're just going to pick this movie apart, give it a grade as teachers do, and then we want to hear what you thought if you saw it.
Yeah, come back and listen to us. See the movie and then listen to our podcast.
And then comment and let us know, and then of course always hit that subscribe button because we're going to be back with more movies. So let's do the synopsis here of Talk to Me. It starts with the main character Mia. Well, no, that's not even right.
Okay, so there's like an intro scene where it kind of hits you like where this movie's going to go. So intro scene of a party where
Yes.
a brother, I believe his name is Cole, is looking for his brother Duckett. And you get the vibe that Duckett's not doing so well because they're like, yeah, you got to go get your control of your brother. Like he's going through this party, typical teen like party thing happening. He's walking through. It's a really cool visual shot of him like walking through this party, looking for his brother. Finds where his brother's at, Duckett has locked himself into a room and he can't get into the room. Cole tries to bang on the door. Eventually he breaks the door down and people around are like, what's up? Like, can't be doing that. But he gets his brother. Brother does not seem to be doing okay. He is like shirtless, marked up. Seems like maybe not
some self-harm
so
going
great.
on.
Some self-harm.
Yep.
I thought maybe there was like some flagellation going on there. Walks his brother out, and then they're in the kitchen. There's a cutaway scene because
Well, everybody starts recording, and Cole gets mad because his brother's not doing well. And so we don't see what Duckett is doing. Cole turns around, Duckett stabs him, and then Duckett kills himself. So then we're introduced to the main character of this movie, Mia.
So you know you're in for some gore.
Yes.
Out the gate.
Very gruesome.
It was because he stabs himself in the face. So
I didn't even know that was possible.
Like in his eyeball.
His eyeball, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, literal
this
eyeball.
This movie and eyeballs.
The eyeballs were a lot. I was trying to look because there was a sort of a review during the not the credits, but the what's the word I'm looking for?
Trailer.
That's it. And they said something about the movie being like the scariest movie of all time and like drags you to hell or something. And I was trying to look it up. I can't remember what they said.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of
very
positive.
It was dragging you somewhere.
We were very excited to go see it.
Okay, so Mia.
We meet
Mia. Let's go back there.
We meet Mia. And she is dealing with some grief. Her mother passed away from what is questionable, a suicide or an accidental overdose of sleeping pills. And so she goes and picks up her friend's brother. And we find out that she's not staying at home with her dad. She's staying with her friend's brother, and her friend's mom. Side note, her friend's mom is one of the highlights of this movie for me.
I liked her a lot.
Just how... And this movie is Australian.
Yeah.
We're from the U.S. So I don't know if maybe we're missing some maybe nuances of things. Sometimes I felt a little lost with like the relationships or how they interact, but it also might be because I'm a little older than the teenagers depicted in the movie, and I'm starting to feel like I don't get young adult culture.
I love her, by the way.
Miranda Otto is the woman who plays the mother, and
she's fantastic.
She was great. I also think that she's Eowyn in The Lord of the Rings, and that's where
she's also in a show on Netflix right now called Wellmania. It's really good.
Oh wow!
I'd like to raise my hand for just a second.
Sure. Do it.
Yeah,
I screwed up that entire relationship. Hold on a second. I thought Dad was remarried to her, and those were her step siblings.
No.
Is that not true?
That's not true.
No, but I could see how you could think that because
Mia was living with
Why?
her best friend, the mom, and the brother.
Yeah, so Jade is the best friend,
Mhm.
Mia, and she is friends with Jade, and then has brother Riley.
Jade does. It's Jade,
Jade's
Riley, and then their mom. And Mia is staying with them because Mia's home life is not so good. She doesn't get along well with her dad. So it took a little while to sort that all out.
Even a longer while for me. I just
Yeah, you don't get the feeling that like the relationship between Mia and her dad is one of like fighting, but there is definitely just like a void there of communication.
That's that.
And I'll be honest,
grief, I
when
suppose.
Jade first enters the scene, she has failed to pick her brother up, so Mia goes and picks him up, and they go past a kangaroo on the road that's been hit but is in pain, and Riley, the brother of Jade, who just got picked up, wants her to put it out, Mia to put it out of its misery. Mia goes to run it over again to kill it and then can't. And so then she just leaves it suffering on the side of the road, which
made me want to leave the theater.
That was a rough point, yeah.
Animals dying is not.
I'm not a
something
fan.
to handle.
Yeah, and there's a dog in here, and that was concerning for Melissa and I, who both have dogs, and I'm sure Allie, because she loves our dogs. We never like to see bad things happen. to dogs.
No, we are animal lovers.
You're like, we cared about the dog.
Allie was like,
Allie was fine with the kangaroo. She was fine with the dog.
The kangaroo thing, I knew I was watching what we could call a foreign film because that would just not happen.
Right. I was looking for a deer. Not a deer.
Not a deer.
It's kangaroo.
Kangaroo.
Yeah.
Equally upsetting.
So anyway,
gosh, plot synopsis. This is a hard one to like just.
Right. So at first I thought that Riley and Jade were somehow maybe step siblings or related, or not Riley and Jade, Riley and Mia.
Right.
But okay, so they get back to their house.
There was a close.
But no.
we find out Jade has a boyfriend that apparently dated Mia before, so that was a little complication too. And then Mia pressures Jade, it's the anniversary of Mia's mom's death, to go to a party because she keeps looking at TikTok. It almost
TikTok
seems
or
like
some sort of
streaming where it
Instagram.
looks like people are possessed
Reel.
and something is happening, and so Mia wants to go to this party because she and Jade think it's all fake.
Yeah.
And they want to check it out. These parties are thrown by their friends Haley and Josh.
Joss.
Joss.
Yeah, we know at least those are the people that are,
So
whether
they go
they're
to
throwing
this
the parties,
party.
but they show up at these parties.
And the hand is taken out, and you hold the hand,
An embalmed hand that has writing on it.
but the
Also
embalmed hand
covered in plaster.
is covered in plaster,
Right.
and then the plaster has the writing on it. So
It's just,
there's not a whole lot of
Like
lore
this.
that we're
yeah, I think
given.
you're right. And then you have to.
And then you have to hold it.
That was it. We did
So
it.
yeah, we're not given a lot of lore on the hand, just that you can't hold it for longer than 90 seconds. Someone lights a candle, you hold on to the hand, you say, "Talk to me," and then you say, "I let you
I
in."
let
Yeah.
you in.
Mhm.
And
Shenanigans ensue.
when you say talk to me the first time, we are shown from the perspective, like if you're sitting in the chair across from you, you would see potentially the spirit that is maybe going to enter you if you let it in.
Yeah. So of course, jump scare, right? When Mia does it the first time, Jade is very skeptical. She's our horror trope of the skeptical person. She thinks that Haley and Joss are, making this all up. So Mia volunteers to go, and it's clear from the party that Mia's not well liked. People think she's weird.
Which is like really nice
She
because her
doesn't-
mom died like 2
Yeah,
years
sure.
ago, and they're just like, "There's the weird girl."
They also think that she sort of like doesn't want to get out there and do things. They think she's boring,
Yeah.
which
So
I think is what like sent her to the chair.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
doesn't relate well to others. It seems like there's a barrier there. I'm assuming from the trauma of her mom's death. So she sees a spirit. She gets freaked out. She stops. Then she does it again and lets someone in. It's a woman who looks like she drowned or something bad happened. She's like
Puffiness going
puffy
on.
and wet and
Drippy, bags under the eyes, sleepy.
And so Riley and Jade and
Saxton.
Jade's boyfriend. What's Jade's boyfriend's name? Matt.
Daniel.
Yeah,
Daniel.
so you're close, Daniel.
Oh, and the ringtone that
It sounded like the Minions.
this just was something that I didn't care for in the movie, which is not related to anything scary, but just Jade's ringtone whenever
Oh,
Daniel or her
it's
friends would
terrible.
call, it was like beep, 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 beep,
It's-
beep, beep,
it
reminded me of the
Minions.
Was it
Yeah,
Minions? I think it might have been.
I don't know.
It might
Remind me
have
of the
been.
hamster dance.
Something. Either way, probably not important to the plot of the film. I found it to be annoying.
Yes,
When you
I
edit
agree.
this, leave that in. It was really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah.
It all stays.
Sorry, the synopsis is taking quite a while, but
It's our first time.
It is pretty involved to
It's a
understand.
lot.
So,
2-hour movie.
while Mia is possessed by this spirit demon, we're not really sure. We think it's like a spirit in purgatory, but nothing is ever really fleshed out with that. She looks at Riley, who is at this party, and claims that there's someone waiting to break him apart, essentially. And it really scares him. And so they try to get the hand. How you break this contact is before 90 seconds is up, you pull the hand away from the person. They've been belted into a chair so that you can just pull the hand away, and then you blow out the candle, and that like closes the door for this. Ends the connection. Very good.
Blow out the candle.
Sends the spirit back.
So they
Or
go to
does it?
take it from Mia's hand,
Seemed like it
and
was
she doesn't
fine
let
at
go. And this very burly Joss guy, he's fighting to get it, and so I think she runs over 90 seconds by a few seconds.
Yeah, he says like 93 or like she's definitely over because they mentioned that specifically.
Later
You
on.
went over the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They blamed her.
So everyone, has taped this, put it on the TikToks or the Instagrams or whatever, social medias, Snapchats, all those. And other people in the party do it, and then they go home.
And then there's like kind of like a break where just movie stuff happens, and Daniel, the boyfriend, he wants to try it. He
Yes.
didn't try it at the party, so they want to have another party. And then, of course, because it's always a good idea to beckon the dead back to the living, some not so great hijinks ensue.
Yeah, so then Jade's mom works night, and we don't know what happened to Jade and Riley's dad, but he's not around. And so one of my favorite scenes is Jade's mom trying to figure out about this party going on, and so she's using all these awesome tactics to try to get someone to spill the beans, but nobody will, because it isn't really a party, it's Jade,
Conjuring.
It's Conjuring
Jade,
is
Riley, Mia, Joss,
monkey paw. I'm sorry,
Haley,
Mia.
Riley's friend, and
Is Riley's friend's
Daniel.
name Dave? Because not that that's
No.
really important to the plot, but
James.
James. I knew it was something real like
Were they alluding to them maybe having feelings for each other?
it kind of seemed that way. But
maybe.
I'm not sure. But yeah, so James and Riley, Mia, Jade,
Haley, Joss.
Daniel, Haley, and Joss.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Those
Yeah.
are names.
So it
Then
was
sue them all.
not really a party, but just like a get together.
The mom was gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mom went to work, so they bring this out, and everybody's. Daniel goes first, and it's a really sexualized demon spirit, dead person, and he makes out with the dog. Tells Jade, the spirit tells Jade that Daniel isn't into her at all, and goes soft when she's around. And, so
And then
that
also
causes
kind of
some
looks at
conflict.
Mia there, so
That
and
makes
like
that
ramps
contact.
up with his
Almost
fronts.
like there's unresolved feelings between Daniel and Mia on
Yeah.
Daniel's side. Then starts making some sexual noises, falls over, makes out with the dog, which in that scene we were all very nervous.
I was
that-
very nervous.
I was about to leave the chat at that point.
I thought the dog was gonna.
Yeah, the
So
dog.
then we see this scene
Get
where
hurt.
there's like, they're all.
They put the dog out before
Yeah.
they all start to.
We've decided that it's too much with the dog now.
Yeah.
The dog goes in the hallway.
So
Dog
Riley and his friend are younger. Everybody else takes multiple turns because apparently it gives you this floaty feeling.
It was
and
a
it's
lot.
cool.
Yeah, it's
They
like
were-
a really weird scene of just like it all getting passed around, and you see
Jade
everybody
never
going like,
does it.
Jay does not do it. You're
Jade
right.
never does.
It was
I
like
wonder
a
if there's-
possession montage.
Yeah.
Session montage,
Yeah, that's what we
and
call it.
everyone's like, yeah, kind of like getting high off of these
Being possessed.
So Riley
sessions.
really wants to do it, which is questionable.
Like
And one
huffing,
thing
I
I
imagine.
didn't like about this movie, because since he had been told at the last party that there was someone waiting for him to harm him, I don't know why he would want to go sit in the chair, but he really wants to do it. Jade says, "No, you're 14. You're way too young."
Yeah, I don't
13.
remember her saying
Yeah,
anything. Maybe it's 13.
like 15, maybe.
Too
I don't know.
young.
He seemed really
Young.
young.
Either way.
Either way,
Way
young, not
too
18,
young.
not an adult, not.
And he was like, "Well, how about just for 6?" Or Mia says, "How about for 60 seconds instead of 90?" And Jade's like, "Nope."
Jade pieces right after that. She's
Yes.
like,
yeah,
she leaves.
Some people give her some shit.
So, I mean, like,
For
at this
being
point, you blame her
responsible.
for leaving.
Yeah,
that's
and
right.
Riley says something really nasty to her about, how he hates her and why, and she tells him he's not her favorite person, and Jade
Yeah.
pieces out.
They
with
do
the
not
dog.
have a great relationship because one thing to kind of circle back on, Riley was afraid that first night after the first party where Mia was possessed, and she kind of like called him out under possession of like, we want to get you, I see you, I'm gonna get you in too, or whatever the wording was. That night Riley is like scared, and he goes to Jade's room to see if he can he has his pillow, so you're under the assumption that he wants to sleep in his sister's room. She kicks him out, not super kind, and then he goes and finds Mia, who is sleeping at their house still, and they end up like just being there for each other. So you get this feeling that Jade is like, there's like a wall there between her and her brother, and her and Mia of sorts, but
Yeah, Jade I didn't like at first as a character
didn't
because
either.
she seemed to be kind of bitchy to everybody.
selfish too.
Towards the end of the
self-centered.
movie, Jade became my favorite character, though. So there was a big change for me there in the characterization of Jade throughout the movie.
See, that makes sense now. I wonder why they had the stepsister on the pull-out couch for so long. And so I'm feeling a little bit better now.
Not the stepsister.
It was
Not
not
the
the
stepsister,
stepsister.
just
Just
a
a
friend that was going through a really tough time. Sorry,
Oh,
I got
no,
off the
no,
track
you're
there to
fine.
cycle back to Riley now.
Where are we?
about
Riley
to
being
get-
possessed.
So
Yeah.
he and after Jade leaves, Riley looks at Mia and is like, "Please, I thought you understood me." And Mia, who seems to be easily swayed, was like, "Okay, how about just for 40 seconds?" And he says 50, and she says, "Okay." So he goes, he gets strapped in the chair, he grabs the hand, and he sees, it seems like someone he might know. He says, "What the hell?"
He looks at me and goes, "What the hell?"
But we don't get to see
we don't know
who
who he
sees.
sees.
So
And
you're
then
only
Kind of
inferring.
quiet.
the spirit that talks through him sounds like Mia's mother. So Mia, of course, wants to hear more and extends the 50 seconds And then it seems almost like a different spirit enters, or the other spirit
it seems like
has
something
multiple
leaves.
personalities.
His head goes back. There's like that weird breathing that happens.
Yes.
With demon possession.
And out of nowhere, and this is the part that I was not prepared for, it gets a little gory. Riley starts smashing his head off the table as if he's trying to split his own skull.
And there were like squishy noises.
There's a lot.
Pounding and squishy noises. And then there was...
And the
I missed part of it because I hid
away.
in Melissa's
Me too.
armpit. And
he
then watched it like
tries to squeeze out his own eyeball, so it's clear in the rules that we were told with this hand, not only can you not hold it for longer than 90 seconds, but that if you die while a spirit is possessing you, it takes over.
Yeah, it might not leave.
Yeah. So it's clear that whatever is possessing Riley at this point wants to kill him so it can keep his body. And so it tries to pull out his own eyeball, and at that point I looked away as well. In the horror genre, gory is my least favorite. I don't need to see the insides. Like, you can do cut open people, but I don't need to see what... Like, I thought the original Scream did a good job.
Scream's great, like insides on outfits, but there wasn't so much... For me, it's the noise.
Right. So anyway, I think we all looked away when the eyeball moment
happened.
I kept on it.
Oh.
I looked away for the kangaroo. I looked away during the English bulldog situation.
With the makeout session.
The makeout session. I stuck with the eyeball. I really did. I stuck with
Good
it.
for you.
I did not. I was in your armpit, so you would know.
That's my favorite genre, is like the gruesomeness.
Like the slasher?
I'm a fan.
You like the fan?
Yeah.
I like slasher, I just don't like gore.
Now, I might not be able to see this Terrifier 1 and 2, because if you're like, if I'm in your armpit for the eyeball, and you're like...
It's real gross. Yeah. But I mean, Riley was going bananas.
Like, he was also... There was something to me, I don't know, maybe because I am, like, older, not old, but older, watching this movie, I really felt, like, protective of that character. He's, like, this little kid who's at this party, and you don't want to see anything bad happen.
So while he's doing this, everybody's just standing there watching.
What do
Everybody's
you
left
do?
in the room except for Jade. So finally Mia tries to get the hand away from him, and he, like, flies across the room, and then it looks like he's going to bash his head against the fireplace mantle. And at that point, Jade has come in, and she puts her hand out, and he hits her hand instead of her. They're able to get the hand away. And then Mia, who we see most of this movie through, she's clearly in shock and walks away. Everybody else is freaking out. They're calling 911 because Riley has split his face open. His eyes all messed up. He clearly needs help. And Joss and Haley are talking about splitting because they don't want to have to talk to the cops. And so next we're in the hospital, and
can't talk about what happens in the minutes to follow because I went to the bathroom to regroup.
Mia washes her hands off. She goes home to her dad's house and then decides to go to the hospital without changing her shirt, which I thought, girl, you should have changed, because she has his blood all over her sleeves.
It's a lot, yeah.
She did try to intervene at first. So we see Riley, his face is all messed up. He's on a breathing machine, and the mom thinks Mia gave him something, so she threatens Mia and basically says, don't come back. If you do, I'm going to call the cops. And Jade is in a lot of trouble for what happened to her brother. So Mia ends up with the hand. We don't know if Joss and Haley just gave it to her or what, but she ends up with the hand that night. Daniel ends up coming over after he sees how upset she is, because he told his parents he was at a cousin, so he can't go home. So they end up sleeping head to toe, and Mia has a dream that involves her mom's suicide, as well as her and Daniel hooking up, kind of. And then she wakes up and sees something in a corner, and I got really excited at this part because that's my favorite in scary movies, is when you see the shadowy figure and you're waiting for the jump scare. I love just the suspense of it all. And it turns into this woman.
I think it's the spirit that got into Daniel.
Because it also seemed very
Sexualized.
sexualized.
Oh, well, that would track, yeah.
So,
especially considering what happens.
Yeah. So Mia tries to wake Daniel up. He's fast asleep, and this ghost starts sucking on his foot, his toes. clearly a fetish ghost.
And I,
Spirit.
at this point, was having another, like, do I have to go to the bathroom again? Because I honestly thought that she was going to eat his foot and, like, take a bite out of it. And I was
No,
like,
it was
never.
more of a foot fetish.
So I missed the
She's,
whole,
like,
like,
eating the
sexual
foot.
connotation, and I went straight to, oh my gosh, they're going to, like, make me throw up again, and I'm going to have to pee my pants again.
So at first it's the ghost sucking on his foot. Like, you see that.
And Mia's standing there, Daniel, wake up, wake up, wake up.
And he
then
wakes up too.
Oh, that's right, that it's her.
She's got him, like, ankle deep.
Yeah.
Sucking
And
on
he's
his
like, what are you
foot.
doing?
Like,
So
this is so gross.
he gets all his stuff and leaves, and she's trying to explain, like, it wasn't me, so,
It was her, though.
but it was her,
It was really
so,
her.
it was, yeah.
We don't
it's
know. We don't know,
questionable.
right? Like,
I also question, like, why they played that up, because it really did seem like the relationship between Daniel and Mia happened when they were, like, in 4th grade, and they just, like,
They held hands.
So I didn't really get, but anyways.
Or if there was more there and they weren't telling, I don't know.
It
There
doesn't
were a
go
lot of
anywhere
questions,
either. Like, that's the
right.
thing, like-
It's just like a weird, awkward plot
yeah.
part. Or maybe we're missing something, I don't know.
Let us know if we did.
Or maybe it would be more
That's-
relevant to a younger viewer. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Lost
So, shenanigans ensue.
Yeah, where are we now? Daniel, Mia?
Now it seems like Mia is having these encounters with the undead or the demons or spirits, if you will, without the use of the talk to me hand. So it's just happening.
Yeah,
to
she
her
uses
now.
the hand a few times to talk to her mom, and her mom also appears moist.
Yeah, everyone
Not my
is
favorite word. but
really
wet.
gross looking.
Yeah.
There's a lot of squelching. Is that the word? Like,
Yeah, like squishing.
Yeah.
It's weird. So
There's
she-
a lot of water the
Yeah.
whole time. It rained the entire time.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
that's true.
So,
And everyone, the ghosts are all wet
yeah,
the whole time.
most of them. A couple aren't, but most of them
Yeah,
are.
I don't remember any dry ghosts.
The
Guy, do you?
I
the
don't.
first
Yeah.
one she sees and the guy who looks like he was burned. They were not wet. Riley's not improving. It shows a scene with his mom and sister at the hospital. They're bathing him, and the mom leaves for a minute, and he tries to bash his skull in again. And it's clear that whatever is possessing him still has him,
Mhm.
because it's still trying to kill him. And the few moments that he like makes eye contact, he bites his sister's hand, bites his arm, and then tries to smash his own skull in. So Mia and Jade and Daniel try to come up with a plan as to how to get these spirits out of Riley and get him better. And so they decide that they're going to take the hand to him, and he had held on to the hand for like over 2 minutes, so he definitely busted the 90-second rule.
And that's where we see, like, for the last time in the movie, the characters of Haley and Joss. They, honestly, there was, like, a scene on a platform of, like, a metro or a subway station where I totally thought someone was getting pushed in front of something because it just seemed like it was going to happen. It did not. But that's the last
They
time
like
we
reach out to
see
Cole because
Joss and-
Cole is, Duckett's brother. So there's that connection back to the beginning, and they're trying to figure out why Mia is seeing these things now without using the hand, the way Duckett was. But Cole doesn't really give them
Not
much
much help.
information,
Cole doesn't
and they
give
don't
him a
really
lot.
pursue him.
And I
more than
was
that.
also shocked because I thought Cole died at the beginning of the
Me
movie.
too. He gets to
When
have
he
pretty
got
good.
stabbed. He got,
So
like,
yeah, he's like right in the
He
stomach.
made it.
So, but he made it, and he's not happy about the whole situation. And it seems like he blames Joss.
yeah,
Sure.
for bringing the hand around in the first place.
But
Yeah.
Joss, and Haley just, handed over the hand and we're like,
Yeah, good luck.
You
Peace
guys
out.
do
We're
you.
We're
done.
done with this. They're like, burn it.
we're going to
I
go.
kind of appreciate that though, because I feel like at that point I'd have been like, other people's problems.
Yeah, they were fine.
Yeah, even
giving
though
up
they
the
kind
hand.
of started it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
They didn't cause all of Mia's stuff.
So Mia and Jade and Daniel decide to take the hand. They think that because maybe the candle didn't get blown out, that the spirits didn't get like released from Riley's body, which I think is silly.
That's what it was.
Yeah, at some
It was a
point,
cute thought.
the candle had to have been.
We're going to
blown
redo this and blow the
So they get
candle
their
out.
glades and candle and they roll up to the hospital.
out. And they put Riley's hand with the spirit hand, and Mia tries talk to him. And of course nothing happens because you have to be the one.
That was not in the rules.
Yeah, the movie's called Talk to Me.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Not
can't
talking about
happen.
So then
That's a whole other movie.
she decides that she's going to see if she can, maybe that the ghost of Riley, or like Riley is a ghost but like not dead and wants to help him. So even though Jade and Daniel are like, no, don't do it, of course Mia does it. She holds the hand and she says, talk to me, and there's creepy kid trope, creepy dead child
Yeah.
from the hospital, and
Very
she
scary.
says, "Do you know where Daniel is? Do you know where Riley is? Do you know where he is?" And the girl's like, "I can show you. I'll let you in." And then Mia has all these scenes of these like writhing spirits, and Riley is caught in the middle, screaming. They're clearly trying to keep
Devour him or eat him or something.
Right, yeah, and so you just hear his like screams of pain and these like flashes of images of him just being covered with these nasty looking spirits, and
People.
it almost seemed like a level of hell or purgatory or something.
Didn't look good.
Yeah.
It seemed like time was running out for Riley.
Riley.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, he wasn't in a comfortable situation.
And,
There's a lot of stranger danger there.
Right.
Who was the girl? Where? I mean, she just random.
Was her name Riley? Because I feel like she was like, talk to me, Riley, or something.
Might
And then a
have been.
Riley showed up.
Hold
Might
up.
have.
So here's where I went. I was like, Riley is trans. I don't think that's what it was. I was like, okay, Riley used to be female, and I thought that was the big. But it
Oh,
wasn't.
No, it's just another random girl.
That's what
I
you
didn't even
thought.
pick up on that. Whoops.
I was making stuff up.
But I also
I was like, is that Riley?
that scene totally gave me like Sixth Sense vibes.
Yeah, yeah.
From
She
the
was
movie,
creepy.
The movie
Yeah.
Sixth Sense. If you haven't seen that
Yeah,
movie,
so maybe
well,
her name
where
was
you been?
Riley and she died at the hospital.
Or
But either way, she was this like little gateway to
help.
Needed
hell.
to
But
see
like,
something.
but that made me sad because I was like, that poor little girl. Like, is that where she is? That she's
Right.
just showing?
She looked okay though. She was in like PJs.
Yeah.
Yeah, she looked taken care of.
Um,
She was all right. I
In the
think.
underworld.
Yeah.
So in the end, a lot of things happen pretty quickly. Jade kind of backs away from Mia. Mia decides that the only way to save Riley is to kill him.
And she decides that from a conversation with Mommy Dearest, who shows up again at her house.
Wetter than before. Mia also has a moment with her father where it's revealed that the mother did commit suicide, even though in the beginning we were told that there were scratches on her bedroom door, and her body was laying against the door, but that she had left a suicide note, which has led to some of us having questions.
And the dad, Max, is the dad's name. He reads her the note. But she argues with him and says, wait, no, that's
She
not
told
how
me
it
she
happened.
didn't.
She
Well,
told-
Ghost Mommy said.
Ghost Mommy said.
Right.
Ghost Mommy said that the note was fake. But at this point, I feel like you look at the handwriting and we could wrap that up.
True. However,
Let's say
right.
typed it. Could have typed it.
She runs off because she's upset, and she's talking to Ghost Mommy, no hand needed, in the mirror, and Ghost Mom is saying, "It's not your dad, he's going to hurt you," and we hear this banging on the door, and then another ghost enters.
violent yelling.
But it looks like her dad, but he's all disgusting, ghosty, and he tries to choke her. Meanwhile, Max, the actual dad, is hearing all this noise because Mia's being like thrown around her room, choked. He goes in. Mia couldn't reach the scissors, horror movie trope. Hey, my weapon's right outside
There
of
they
my
are.
reach. He grabs it, and of course, that ghost disappears, and Mia actually stabs her dad in the neck. So,
right in the jugular. Like,
well,
Which
you would
apparently is
think.
no longer fatal.
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe she missed it. Either
well,
way,
let's hope.
It was
She-
close.
she doesn't
There was-
call an ambulance. She doesn't call
Squirt.
911. She decides she's going to go kill Riley.
Bleeding
So she
pretty
takes the scissors with Dad's blood. She calls Jade and tells Jade to go to her house, and then she leaves, or she's in the hospital parking lot.
We assume to be alone with Riley.
Yes. So Mia goes in. As she starts talking to Riley. Riley's mom enters. They make up, and then Mia asks for a moment alone with Riley. She gets the scissors out, and then she can see the ghost that is in Riley or possessing him. Is this like disgusting old man who wants him to touch her, wants her to touch him. Let me say that right. You know,
Was it like in a gross way?
I think it was in like a sexual way.
Really?
I don't know that.
described it.
I'm going to put that under question mark for me because I didn't really get that.
I feel it better under question mark, honestly. I don't want to think. I appreciate
was
she
gross.
brought the scissors this time. They were in the back pocket. It was cute.
Yeah, she brought the scissors, still covered with Dad's blood. Meanwhile, Jade
How
has
does that
discovered Mia's dad. He's still alive. And then she calls her mom, and the mom says, "Well, I just left her alone with Riley." And Jade says, "Mia's dangerous." Mia has gotten Riley and is taking him out of the hospital in a wheelchair, up this hill, over this busy intersection with cars, and she's clearly going to do to him what was done to the kangaroo.
And we are left to assume that Australian hospitals have no security.
They also have really good parking. Did you notice? Like, anytime somebody showed up, they parked right there and walked right in. That is not how it is here. We have parking garages. They have all the parking you need very close to the door.
Yeah, if that's true, thumbs up to Australia.
Yeah, get it, healthcare.
Sorry.
Wait, so she was going to stab Riley. Couldn't do it.
Yes.
Which is, what's the English word I'm looking for here? Like the parallelism, right, from the beginning where she couldn't kill the kangaroo.
Oh, like to make the not a sacrifice, but to put something out of somebody out of their.
But it alluded back to that, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think you see the kangaroo in the hospital.
We saw a spirit kangaroo, right?
Yeah.
He hopped around down the.
Did we see that?
Yeah, he hopped down the hallway.
So Mia has Riley in this wheelchair, and it's clear that she's going to send the wheelchair, and he's going to get hit by cars and killed. And then all of a sudden, we're in the car with a family, and something hits its roof, and we turn around and we find out that it ends up being Mia. And she stands up. She's all busted up, but she stands up, and she looks up, and Jade has Riley in her lap, and he is safe. And then it blinks, and Mia's in the hospital, and Riley and his family are going home, and Riley looks a lot better, and Mia's dad is walking down the hall, and the lights are going off, and then,
the flickering lights.
I think we all realize that Mia is dead.
But Mia
she looks in a mirror and isn't there.
Yes, which is one of her.
Did they allude to that
dreams.
Before?
Yeah, that was
Did
her
they
nightmare.
allude to that? Oh, okay.
What did they do?
That was her nightmare, was she would look in a mirror and nothing would be there, like she didn't exist.
I missed that.
So she had alluded
told
to that.
Riley that.
Ooh, that adds another level of creepy for me, but okay, keep going.
So then she sees the light, and like in the poltergeist movies, which I love, I whispered to Allie, "Don't go into the light." But she goes into the light, and it's a group of other people who now have the hand, and the guy's holding Mia's hand, and he says, "I'll let you in," and then the movie ends.
And then
so Mia has become a ghost that is in purgatory, or at least around, to be able to enter people now.
But either way, Mia dead.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Womp womp. But Riley and his family are okay.
They seem like they're doing okay.
So, question: is this an appropriate time for questions?
This is an appropriate time for questions.
Where did the spirit that was inhabiting Riley go?
I guess back to hell, or
like he was real possessed.
So if you remember, I believe wasn't it Joss? No, it was Cole who said like the longer they're in you, the weaker they become.
That
so
was
just wait it out. Was that him?
Yes, like the flu.
Just,
yeah.
Like,
you gotta get through it.
Yeah.
And even Jade did say when she came to like with the knife to Mia, she said when they were on the phone, it seems like he's getting better. He's like more himself. Yes. I think she said something along those lines.
Mia had it in her mind because Ghost Mommy kept saying, "I'll take care of him. You need to kill him."
And at the end there, she's like, before she goes to push him into the traffic, Ghost Mommy's there like, "I'm so proud of you. You're doing the right thing." So Ghost Mommy there for them.
Did she want her to be in the spirit world with her? Was that, you think, Ghost Mommy's goal?
I think Ghost Mommy was not actually her mother after a certain... That's where like some questions are raised for me, because the first time that Riley sees what we think is Ghost Mommy, because he lets her enter and Mia and Riley have the exchange before the head bashing. I think that I don't know if that's really her or not, but it became pretty clear to me at some point when she wanted bad things to happen to Mia's dad, and also like the line about the suicide note, that is not in fact really
Mia's I got you
mom anymore.
Yeah, I mean, so when I was young, I watched The Exorcist, right? Mr. Howdy. And my dad was like, "Don't ever play with the Ouija board because you never know who you're going to invite in." And so I've always thought that way. Like, you should always be skeptical if you're talking to a ghost, which, I mean, how many of us do? But is that really who you're talking to? And, like, in this movie, those were questions that were brought up for me. Are these really the spirits of dead people? Are they some kind of malevolent spirit? Or, is it another spirit? Because Daniel says after he does it, he says, "I think they just get into your mind and now they know like what you want." So I thought because Mommy was always so wet that maybe it was that first ghost that Mia let in, or spirit, who had clearly died by some kind of drowning or something like that, and was pretending to be Mia's mother in order to try to get Mia to let her stay in, or to kill somebody that she could go in. I don't really know what that water connection was, and why every time we saw the mommy ghost, she was wetter than the last time we saw her, and more decrepit.
The ghost that, when Mia first sits down to have the interaction with the hand, and she touches it, it's a different one. It's like a guy, I thought. And then she's like, whoa, what the heck? And then they're like, no, just do it again. And then when she does it again, it's a different person. So it could have been a whole other movie if she had just stuck with that original ghost. But she got the second option. And I don't know why the wetness. But one thing that when we had been talking about, just in like Greek mythology, people of the underworld that have not passed on, like if they were under Hades' guy, they were in the river Styx, the bodies of the river Styx. So I don't know if that's what the filmmakers were going for, but for any of those people,
if we're way reading into that, let us know.
Yeah.
The thing that I appreciated the most, so being a math teacher, I asked them if they noticed this, but in the hospital, I always notice numbers in movies. I noticed that, which is weird, right? But I noticed that Riley was in room 111, right? And I asked, they didn't see it, but I definitely saw it, and I was like, okay. And my sister and I talk a lot about angel numbers. We have angel numbers with our grandparents, but 111 is supposedly an angel number, so any numbers that are, the same repeating number. And when I kind of looked up like what 111 typically means as an angel number, it said that it can mean that new beginnings are right around the corner, which was good and so maybe we were then being told that yes, Riley is fine and getting out of the hospital.
I think you're definitely onto something there though, because even if you look at the relationship that he had with his sister, at the very end it's his sister who, that was a question that I had. Did Jade push Mia into the traffic to save her brother, or did Mia realize that she was the one that had to die in order to like sever the connection and save him? I'm left with some questions there. But at the end, you clearly see that Jade is comforting and taking care of Riley, and that would be like a new beginning also for their family that had gone through this like horrific thing. So I think that's really cool. Also with the angel number, something that's interesting is just thinking about the number 666, which is technically an angel number because like Lucifer was one of
he was
the
angels.
He was like one of
the fallen
big
angel,
the fallen one. So I never made that connection before.
So maybe
that's cool for me.
I mean, here's where I am with this whole thing, right? So like Mia, you needed somebody that had like a lot of grief that was willing to push the boundaries to get what they wanted and talk to their loved one again, right?
So in a lot of more recent horror movies, and I know other people have talked about this too, it seems like there's a need for trauma. That the main character needs to have some kind of major trauma in their life for the events to happen. And I'm starting to get annoyed with it. I guess
You're
I should
over
say.
it.
I'm over it because, I mean, those of us who don't have a major trauma like at our lives, number one, we're very lucky. But number two, we can't really associate with those main characters. And for me, that's where the horror stops. Because if I can't see myself in those shoes in any way, shape, or form, or understand the choices the character is making, I start, I don't know, I guess, stepping away from the choices and what's happening, and it gets less scary, and now it's just a movie that I'm watching, and I'm not in the moment with it.
And also when you bring up trauma, the mental health, like, aspect of it, you have this character that is, really gone through something, grieving hard. Is what she is experiencing something that is of the paranormal, or is this something where she should really be seeking some treatment for, and are those that are in her love, like in her circle, kind of failing her in that aspect? So, I'm kind of over the trauma too. I like a good, like, you got possessed just because it was a Wednesday type.
Yeah, I mean, just things can be possessed.
Yeah.
Like
So
your
one
dad,
thing
like
that was
the
good-
not your
yeah.
dad's possessed, but you.
He's
you mess, we should bring him in and just show everyone that your dad is not possessed. You mess with a Ouija board, you open up the spirit world. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, you
Right.
allowed someone to come in. Now,
Yeah.
one thing that I love about horror movies is the unknown, right? That is usually what makes me scary. And you brought up Halloween, the old and the new. So the old one I liked that we didn't really understand why Michael Myers did what he did. In the new one, they took away that unknown.
Yeah, they like tied it up.
They tied it up,
Wait,
and I didn't.
refresh memory.
It wasn't as scary as much.
Are we allowed to spoil that right now?
If you haven't seen Halloween, hit pause, go watch it, then come back, hit unpause. That's assuming that anybody's watching. If you're with us, we love you.
It's just us.
It's okay.
No, okay.
And
But
maybe some friends.
Halloween,
They're all
why did he do it?
I forget. I forget. Do you remember? Why did he do it?
Maybe we hit pause, we go back and watch it. You know what?
I forget, but I remember that
We'll just leave it out.
that they took it away.
Yeah, I mean, that's what
And
they've been
that
doing with
annoyed
all
me.
these movies. is
Future
just
episode. So giving the reason.
Giving
for-
reasons. I think people want reasons
Yeah.
more, you know?
So personally,
I'm
I don't
for-
like that as much. I like the fear of the unknown. Like, this person became a serial killer just because in the movie, or the demon picked this person for no specific reason. So the fact that you need a trauma victim in order for this to happen, I start to lose a little bit. But I do
Or,
understand the
like-
grief.
But trauma, like, these poor people have already gone through something. It's like, spirit world, leave these people alone.
Right.
They've already gone through so much. Like, if they're more open, just like, that's not cool. They've already gone through something so like bad in their life. Let's leave them alone. Just
The
leave them
thing
alone.
that got me that was like a little upsetting, I mean, I'll tell you that I really enjoyed the movie because I love funny horror movies and I thought it was very funny. But the one thing that was tough for me as we think about it a little bit more, and as you brought up that all the spirits are really gross looking, that's a really good point, and it didn't really hit me until right now, but like, I have been through that trauma where I've lost loved ones that I feel like I still have things to say to. Hoping I'm not getting too heavy for the podcast, but maybe we're getting like a lot of subscribers right now.
Yeah,
That trauma. But like, I would pretty much give anything, right, to talk to someone that has passed recently, okay? And if I'm gonna be pissed if I get there and they are mad looking, right? Like
Yeah.
the warts and all wet and nasty, like that can't have been what that was, right? Like I do not want to think that if there is an afterlife that it's that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I don't think that we're dealing with
Normal spirits.
normal spirits. I think
Yeah.
that we are dealing with like demonic possessing.
Could be malevolent, or it could be like these spirits trapped in purgatory.
It
Right.
could
Just,
be
like,
one
rotting.
spirit just messing
It
with
could
everybody.
be.
Yeah.
Because
These
you
are the
have to
best.
figure if your jam is to believe in like an afterlife, which if you've lived a good life and you're in a place where you found peace, you probably are not itching to come out of that. But if you are in purgatory or like just in some real bad place where Riley looked like he was like getting just mangled, yeah, you want an easy out. So
It could just be one spirit in that hand, and its job is just to mess with the mind of the person that screws with it, right? And get them to do terrible things, right?
That's
kill
true.
themselves, kill each other.
So I'm thinking, let's go through each of us a couple of things that we really liked about the movie, and then we can do the same with some dislikes.
Okay.
To, start to wrap us up. So things that I liked, the humor, definitely. Liked Jade's mom. Jade became my favorite character at the end, and I did like the atmosphere.
Mhm.
You know, the light versus the dark and how it was used. I liked the concept of the movie, that this hand, and here's my English teacher in me, it kind of felt like maybe it started a little monkey's paw, but instead of making a wish, you held onto the hand, and in Mia's mind, maybe her wish was to see her mom, and so that was used against her in some way. So those were all my highlights of the movie. There were a couple good jump scares, not as many as I would personally like, and a little bit more gore than I'm a fan of. But overall, definitely had some likes.
You gonna
there.
grade it?
Not yet. That's
Oh,
not
we're
yet.
the end.
Okay, so
Jumping-
we're doing
jumping ahead.
likes.
Just likes.
Okay.
Grades are not
So-
due yet.
Grades are not due.
Okay.
Whew,
Got a
got some
little
time.
time
So likes for me, I thought honestly at that opening scene, it got me, and I thought, okay, we're gonna be on a really like kind of wild ride. What's gonna happen next? The casting I thought was really great. These characters were all really believable as just young people going through it. The asshole I'm sorry, shouldn't swear. The a-holes were a-holes. The crying was very effective. I mean, I thought the acting was superb. And also, I really enjoyed the setting. I thought that they used light and especially, a couple of scenes in the hospital to really, zero in on this experience that Mia was having of what's going to come around that corner or what's come at her next. So those were my likes.
Good now.
Your turn.
We're just on likes?
We're just on likes.
To piggyback off of your setting and the use of darkness, I like that it wasn't too dark, that you couldn't actually see what was going on. I think they did a really good job of, it's dark. I mean, apparently it's night all the time in Australia, and it rains constantly. There was no daylight. I mean,
it was
there's
their
a little
winter.
bit. Yeah. Does that happen?
I think
the
so.
sun stays down the whole time?
I don't know about that.
We should Google that. But in any
Or
case,
if you're Australian,
they're like,
put it in the
you're
comments.
idiots. The sun comes up. But no, what I'm saying is I've seen a lot of movies that are supposed to be dark in a setting, and you can't see anything.
Yeah.
I thought they did a really good job with that.
Agreed.
Again, huge fan of humor. We laughed a lot more, I think, than we were crying. I don't know, it was stupid, but you know what I mean. The gruesomeness was a lot, but that's the
a
thing.
like for you, though.
Yes,
But you like that, yeah.
that's the thing that scares me the most. Like jump scares, it wasn't that kind of jump scare. It wasn't like somebody flying out of a closet or something. It was, oh my god, somebody's pulling their freaking eyeball out, like from the thing.
And the noise.
The noise, and I mean that was
good sound
great.
effects.
I mean, he had his fingers around the eyeball.
I
Like,
was in your armpit, so I
he was
laughed
doing
more.
good with that. I mean, I appreciate that kind of stuff. There was one other thing that I appreciate. You might have to edit this part because I got to think for a second. Shoot. I mean, if the 111 was a thing, that's cool. Like, I thought that was a really good move. Oh, I liked the casting as well. If you're a fan of 90 Day Fiancé, Joss looks a lot like Oswelu, so that was really good. I appreciated him. And I think Haley, if that was the character's name, I should have looked it up. I like the representation, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like they're bringing in some folks, and maybe Riley was trans. So, and that's what we learned in the spirit world. But I appreciate the representation.
I thought of one more which you may disagree, but oftentimes when I'm watching a scary movie, because we've seen so many, we have this formula that you can kind of follow and you can kind of predict maybe where it's going. And I have to say, with this one, I couldn't always predict where it was going, and I liked that. I didn't know, and maybe that's because technically, sometimes traditionally for me when I'm watching foreign films, and I'm going to call this a foreign film, it's Australian directors,
Okay.
that often happens for me because, again, maybe it's mindset, maybe it's culture, maybe there are things that I'm not picking up on.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed that, I didn't have it all figured out, halfway through the movie, and
Same.
took me for the ride.
Yeah, I like that. I did like that too.
Yeah, same.
So let's go through some dislikes. Melissa, we're going to start with you this time.
Okay, we'll go the back way. It kept me engaged the entire time, which sometimes movies do not. But I feel like the beginning was slow. They call that on Netflix a slow burn. But it did. I felt like it was really slow at the beginning. Anything else that I disliked? Maybe I like it wrapped up a little bit better. I'm sorry if I stole your thing because you said that earlier. But,
No, it's okay.
I kind of wanted to see... Well, I thought Max and Sue were together, but that was not true. I wanted to see I wanted to see what happened. Was Riley really okay? Did that actually happen? Is everybody back in school having a great time? But they left it a little open-ended for me. It almost maybe leaves it open-ended for a sequel because another group of people have the hand.
Yeah,
but
totally.
I'm not going to sure what's going to happen with that hand. Yeah.
I mean, would you assume it's the same hand? Is it a different
Yeah, it
hand?
looked like
I
the
guess
same
that's
hand.
one of my dislikes. And maybe the biggest one of all, the one that kept... I have a lot of questions. I'm just not sure. I guess we definitely have it wrapped up for Mia. We know she's dead, but everything else is kind of where did she go? How did she die exactly? I just had my biggest dislike was it just left me with questions that, maybe that's the fun of it, but for me, sometimes I just didn't understand what I was seeing, and especially upon reflection after watching the film, I would have liked some of those holes to have been patched up.
They kind of don't track back, right? You know,
right?
Like,
You're just kind of, you have to go with it,
yeah,
because they tell you to. And sometimes I like to make the connections on my own.
Yeah, my dislikes. This movie was hyped quite a bit, so I had very high expectations, which a lot of times can really leave you feeling a little let down. And I have to say, I did feel a little let down by this movie. But a couple things that really pop up for me is the lore of the hand. You know, one story is that was from a Satanist. One story is that was from like a seer who could commune with dead spirits. But how, you know, the mystery surrounding it was nice, but the lore was so unspecific that you didn't know, like, why is Mia now seeing these ghosts? Is it because she hung on to it for longer than 90 seconds? If so, what's Riley's future going to be? Because he held on to it for way longer. Is he going to be seeing these ghosts now? Or do you have to go through a trauma? The whole trauma, main character, again, I didn't really like that. Another thing I didn't like, the gore.
I guess I should have said that too. I had a rough time with the gore.
I'm laughing the whole time, and you guys are.
Yeah, like it was so. I'm sorry, but it was just gross. It was gross. But I feel like they could have done more with jump scares. They could have really built up, you know, seeing things, hearing things that aren't there, the fear factor, the suspense, and I feel like that was kind of, we had like a couple of moments and that was it.
Yeah, that didn't really exist that much.
No, and I really love that suspense, that anxiety that builds, the waiting for something to jump out that didn't really. And I was left with a lot of questions about things.
How did they know about the 90 seconds?
There's a lot of stuff that they just
I just
had
saw
to
that.
know of
Like
because they
someone
told it to you.
like when you
Oh,
got
I
the
see.
hand.
There was a
you
hand.
were
There was a handbook.
And honestly,
There's a handbook.
Excuse me, I'm supposed to make a
Yes.
pun.
Yeah. Right. Math teacher with a pun coming out of left field.
I like it. I like it.
honestly, I think that the biggest jump scare for me was right at the beginning when the bro
Yes.
got stabbed. Like, that was unexpected for me, and I was definitely like,
And then,
Yeah.
and then
yes, the
and
eye.
I mean,
that was a double jump scare.
that
Right
was
there.
a double right
Yeah.
there. And then you're right, it wasn't really slow burn, whatever you want to call it. You know, we understood a lot of Mia's pain, I think, throughout this whole movie, which again goes back to, can we please just give people that have had something really awful a break and just, you know,
Give them nice spirits to see.
make it about like what we had our list of you know, things that go on. Just make it about, like, remember Scream when they were just like killing people and having parties and stuff? I mean,
Not for really any reason.
well, there was a reason.
But,
Whole other podcast.
yeah, we can't get into that.
Can't get
one
into
now.
that one now.
No. So, a lot of horror movie tropes were used. You know, you had the dark versus the light, of course, for the evil. Let me see what else. We have little notes because we're teachers, so of course we take turns. You know, the suspenseful music, the jump scares, few and far between, but there were a few. The creepy kid was in there. There was a twist ending for sure. I definitely didn't see it coming. Vengeful spirits seemed like, weapon out of reach with the scissors. Got looking good after the demon leaves. You know, after these spirits would leave. Like, whenever they were possessed, they'd have, like, almost bruising around their mouth, their nose, and their eyes would be, like, giant and black.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the spirit left, it was like, oh, no,
They're
back.
back.
It looked like I walked the runway yesterday. You know, I also put down humans are the real monsters because of what we do to each other and
Yeah.
grief and not getting help for each other. Like, I feel like Mia's dad really let
Peer
her
pressure,
down.
social
Mhm.
media.
Yeah.
Mirrors.
Mirrors, yep. Definitely had some character stereotypes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Vengeful spirit, the creepy kid, the loner, non-believer, Jade, the nerd, the arrogant guy. And I put a question mark next to ancient evil because is the hand ancient evil? We don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
And in some cases I feel like that would have made the hand scarier, but for me it just kind of fell flat in this
Yeah.
movie.
There wasn't enough of the backstory of the hand, I suppose.
You know, I guess filmmakers walk a fine line, and writers, between giving us enough to get scared, but not giving us everything because some people don't like that, or for other people giving us everything because they do like that. So it's hard to please everybody for sure.
And there definitely wasn't a sex couple in this one, but I will give an honorable mention to the foot sucking because that was definitely
Gross.
bizarre.
I hope they like real cleaned his foot like real hard.
I liked it.
I hope it was a fake foot.
I like when he was describing it to Jade, and he's like, I woke up and Mia was sucking my foot.
He's like awkward friendly.
Yeah, that
Jade's like,
that storyline for me was a little meh, but
Yeah, there was a lot of awkwardness between the characters that wasn't fully fleshed out, so it was hard to like read what was really going on with
and
them.
also like the loner for Mia, she would have been like that. Even though there were a lot of people around her, she was definitely right for the pickin' for those demons.
Yes, isolated. Another thing I didn't really like about this movie is it makes me feel old.
Yeah.
I don't really understand the teenagers' choices. I don't really understand the need to put everything on social media. She says as she makes a podcast to put on social media.
we're surrounded by those kids every day. Do you think our kids are doing that?
I could see
Seances.
some of them, yeah, definitely.
Maybe. I hope not. Don't open any doors.
Please don't come to school possessed.
Yes. And if you do open the doors, please make sure you close them and that you're safe while you do it.
Yes.
So, I think it's time to give a grade. Allie,
Okay,
we're going to start and give you first grade.
So historically speaking, my students would probably tell you that I'm kind of an easy grader, which I don't necessarily know if that's true or not. However, I wanted to give this movie an A based off of hype, but I'm going to go with a B minus, mostly because of the questions and also because I had to leave partway through because I kind of felt like icky to my belly because somebody tried to pull their eye out. But overall, I thought I would definitely recommend seeing it because I think it does have some good moments. I think a younger generation, younger audience, teen audience, not like tot audience, would definitely appreciate this movie and, you know, check it out. But for me, I'm going to go with B minus.
Melissa, you're next.
My first grade was an A plus. This is true. They're looking at me and they're very confused. Because I'm not much of a like analyze a movie type person. Like if it keeps my attention, if it's horror movies, if they're funny, I've said that a lot, and if it scares me, and again with all the nastiness that happened, I loved it. So if I would have just walked out of there and saw anyone, I'd be like, that's an awesome movie, go see it. I still think it's an awesome movie and you should go see it. But if you think about things just like a little bit more, I think some things were not explained well enough, so I dropped it to a B. Solid B.
Nice. Very nice.
Because I overanalyzed it.
So, real quick before I give my grade, Melissa, welcome to those of us who overanalyze things. And I think that's part of what makes us a language and an English teacher is, you know, for years, Allie and I, we go see movies, and then over sushi, we talk about the movies to death, what we liked, what we didn't. And that's really where this idea of the podcast came from, was that we talk about it, so we want to see what other people have to say, too, and hear we watched other podcasts about scary movies, and we thought, well, why not put our voices out there? Because we say interesting things and act in strange ways. So.
Yeah, I Scantron that thing. Like, I was like, right answer, good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, like, that superficial
for sure.
first glance, I think, you know, for me, maybe my grade would have been higher, but I definitely, some parts, like, turned me off a little bit. But again, overall, I stand by that it was worth it. It was worth the money I spent.
So I'm a hard grader. My students will tell you that, and I give tons of feedback. So I'm going to try to keep it brief. When I walked out, before we had all of our discussions, my original grade was a D. I was super disappointed. I thought it was
D for disappointed.
D for disappointed. I thought it was overhyped. I was missing my jump scares. I felt like there could have been so much more done with the lore of the hand, choices of the characters, maybe even some insight into what was really, I don't know, what they were seeing, why they were all wet. Like, I just felt like I had way too many questions when I left the theater and not enough scares, and it just disappointed me. However, after bringing up the numbers and more of the setting and maybe some more of those, being able, Melissa talking about people who do go through that kind of trauma of losing people that they love, that they're super close to, and doing anything to see them again, I will raise my grade to a C minus.
Ooh.
Okay.
Just a smidge.
Few bonus points.
But tonight when I sleep, I'm going to sleep fine, because I'm never going to hold on to an embalmed hand and ask to see someone dead. And that won't haunt my dreams, and it's not going to scare me. And the part I jumped at the most was the eyeball, and that was more because I thought that the popcorn was going to go back in the bag.
That was gross.
Oh, I'm just checking out here because I'm always curious. So if anyone's interested in the Rotten Tomato score, I know people look at that a lot. So the tomato meter gave it a 94%, and the audience score was an 82%.
So these two are right on track, I guess. This just wasn't my film this time, but I do appreciate it being unique, and like Allie said, I did appreciate that I didn't know where it was going to go when it ended. So those were two good things, but sorry
Overall,
guys.
expectations.
Yeah.
Next up is The Nun, maybe?
The Nun 2.
The Nun
Which
2.
is out in September. So we have a lot of feels about The Nun, but that's a totally different talk for a totally different day. And if you've held on with us this long, you're a trooper. We love you.
Because we're teachers and we understand that after 10 minutes, most people peace out. So bravo for you. Bravo.
Yes. Yeah. And if you check the comments or check the description, we'll post times of when you can jump. So if you don't want to hear us babble on about certain things and you just want to jump to listen to certain parts, check the description and we'll put times in there.
And if you see the movie, let us know what you think, and if you agree with us, disagree with us, keep
What
the
grade you
conversation
would
going.
give?
Yeah, give us a
Full
grade.
of total crap, maybe. Us.
Yeah,
Not them. Us.
could be.
Yeah.
But we enjoy talking over. Talk to me with you. We like talking to you about talk to me with you and us and them. So anyway, we'll see you next time, horror movie lovers.
Yeah. Bye.